Hello, all of you, namaste. Now, today I am going to talk about constructivism in learning. There are different opinions on how children learn, and some of these concepts we are going to talk about today. As all of you know, some children find it something to learn easily. The same concept for some children it is difficult, and some children ask questions in the classroom. Some children do not understand when teacher gives response or clarifies doubts in the classroom. So everything depends upon child's interest. That is a different issue. But there are certain learning methods. Certain learning methods means certain teaching methods. The learning and teaching should go hand in hand, and generally they should be natural. They should follow natural principles of brain. But these methods should not be designed according to curriculum, because if a curriculum is followed or is taken into consideration to decide teaching methods, they may go against natural principles of child's brain structure. That's very, very important. And that is why psychologists suggested certain methods. Important methods of them is constructivism or constructive approach. It is talked about in service trainings, orientation classes, regular training classes, and in different courses. There has been a great deal of research going on constructivism. See, what is constructivism, how it is natural, and how does it follow structure of human brain, and does it go against principles of brain, learning principles of brain and learning method of child. So let us talk about it. Before going to details about it, let us know about what is and how it is recorded, anything we see or experience and hear in our brain. Because brain cannot record as we see, as we hear, as we find, as we experience. There is always a difference between what we experience and what we express. See, this is the point we should remember while talking about constructive method. What is that point I have made? Difference between what we experience. Experience means what we see, what we hear, what we learn, what we read, what we receive in the class. And when it is asked to express in terms of explanation, in terms of we can explain it, or we can describe it, or we can discuss it in the class, or we can take part in the conversation, or we can express our opinion in it based on the information we receive. So there is a difference in it. It is not as we receive. It is not what we receive. It is not similar. That is why let us see what happened in between experience and expression. This is called construction of knowledge, and this is called interpretation of knowledge. When two students are given same type of task, let us ask them to read a paragraph or a few lines in the paragraph. Remember, these two children have similar grasping abilities. Their score is similar. Their response is similar. When we ask these students to explain it or to describe it, to discuss it, totally interpret it. And definitely there is a difference in their response between the students and also between what students respond, what students say in the classroom, what students interpret in the classroom, and what is in the textbook. So students, because what takes place, see, child cannot express what he has really experienced. That's very, very important. There is a difference of opinion. So this is called interpretation of everything. Interpretation of everything we experience differently in our terms. See, whatever we hear, whatever we find, whatever we see, whatever we experience in the classroom is expressed differently, is interpreted differently. Our interpretation, our expression, our response, our description, our discussion is based on previous knowledge. This is very, very important in a constructivist approach. So, constructivist approach means when we experience something in the classroom, definitely there is difference in our interpretation, in our description, in our response. And I said once again, difference between experience and expression means difference between receiving information and responding. So between receiving and responding, there is a process. What takes place? Construction of knowledge. So that process is meant by what we call construction of knowledge. So this is permanent because it is based on previous knowledge of the students. Previous knowledge is very, very important. It serves as a base in child's learning. Students, as long as teachers we neglect previous knowledge of child, their knowledge, their learning is not permanent, is not sustainable. It remains as a piece of information in one or any corner of their brain because it doesn't develop higher order thinking skills like analysis, inference and comprehension. Without these skills, learning is not effective. Learning is not sustainable. That's very important. So, without using this method, other than constructive method, does not make child a self-learner, an autonomous learner. It is the motto of constructive method. So once again, students, experiencing something, seeing something in the class, receiving something in the class, and if asked to respond about it, to reply about it, to answer about it, definitely child expresses in his own way, in his own terms. So that expression, that response is based on previous knowledge known as schema. You please keep it in mind while you are talking about constructive method. So this is briefly about constructive method of teaching and learning. So it can promote higher order thinking skills in students. It is in accordance with the structure of brain, natural principles of brain. Okay, children, thank you very much for watching, and post your comments and they will be clarified very soon or later.